Hello, this is Stephanie Swisher with Stephanie Swisher Art, and today I'd love to show you guys how to paint some cute impressionistic roses in a vase. So the colors we're going to be using today are titanium white, hooker's green, phthalo cyanine blue, magenta, yellow, medium, primary red, and rose pink. You can paint your background in any colors that you prefer. We're just going to start with the vase, and we're going to be using the turquoise blue and titanium white. You can choose to use the turquoise blue straight out of the tube, or if you're like myself and you would like the shade a little bit lighter, just add a little bit of the titanium white into the turquoise blue. It's a nice day here in Kentucky. It almost feels a little bit like spring, so I'm taking full advantage and painting outside for the first time in 2024. So to form the vase, I am using a larger square brush known as a flat brush. You do not have to use this exact same type of brush if you don't want to. You could use a filbert or something else like that. I do just fine with the vases to get the bigger, larger strokes that I like to see. I like to stick with the flat brush. I have found when painting vases that it is best to go ahead and do my outside edges first, and then I can go back in and fill it in with the paint. And I want to keep my brush strokes going up and down and using long strokes. If I decide that I would like my vase to be shaped any differently or made a little bit bigger, then I will go back and add some more paint to the edges to make it bigger. Now I'm going to add some titanium white to the mixture we already had mixed up of our turquoise and titanium white, just to make it lighter so it can be our highlight color for our vase. I'm going to once again keep my strokes going up and down. I am using kind of a lighter pressure. I'm wanting to get the first coat of paint blended in well with the white, the titanium white. But as I blend it, I do want to still leave some very obvious white blended strokes on the top of the vase. That way it looks almost like, the sun is hitting it and it looks like that reflection. And now, as you can really see, comparing both sides, now that we have the highlight put on one of the sides, you can tell how those white highlights just really bring the vase to life. And I also should say that when you are getting your white onto your brush, you do not want to get a big dollop of that white. You want just a little bit of that white. That way you're not trying to blend in a whole bunch of the white. You're just trying to blend a little bit of the white. And then you can go back if you need a little bit more and add it a little bit at a time. But if you put just way too much of the white, you won't be able to get those little white streaks blending in. It'll just kind of all become one lighter color, and we want to be sure to see that just a little hint of the first darker coat that we did, and the white has now blended some into that and created a lighter blue as a mid color, and now the white highlight going on top is what will really bring that to life. And I will just keep working, adding a little more of that white at a time and continuing to blend well until I really get that exact look that I like. All right, I think our vase has turned out well, so now it's time to move on to the leaves. I do zoom in much closer when I go to add the highlight to these leaves. That way you can get a much more close-up view. For now, I am just going to keep the camera at this distance, but don't worry, I do zoom in much closer in just a little bit. So for our leaves, they're going to be in the background, so I do like to apply the leaves before I do the flowers. For these leaves, the colors I used was the Hooker's Green, and then I applied a little bit at a time of the Phthalocyanine Blue, we'll just call it Phthalo Blue, to reach as dark of a green color as I would like. If you have any green, straight out of the bottle that you would like to use, that is perfectly fine too. Also, if you just have a lighter green and you need this first coat to be darker, you can always just add a little bit of brown or a little bit of a darker blue to it. Also, if you would like to position your flowers at different places within the painting, you can. Also, if you don't want to do as many leaves as you can, or if you want to do them smaller, that's fine. You'll actually be able to see in just a second where I have actually made some of the smaller leaves on a vine myself on the right side. And there we go. If you don't want to do the smaller leaves, you could just do some more of these larger leaves that we have done. Or you don't have to do any leaves at all. You could leave that just as empty space. But I think it just balances the painting better to either have some smaller or bigger leaves there on the side as well. So here you can see that I did zoom in closely. That way you could see me applying the highlights to the leaves. All I did was take that mixture that we had of the Hooker's Green and the Phthalo Blue, and I added some white to it. You may possibly need to go back at this point and mix some more paint up for yourself. Just a reminder that was the Hooker's Green with a little bit of the Phthalo Blue, and then once you get that mixed up, you want to add a little bit of white to it, a little at a time, until you get it as light of a highlight color that you would like. You don't have to do yours quite as bright of a highlight green as I did mine. You may want yours to be a little bit darker, and that would be fine. You just want to be able to see the difference in that first darker coat of paint and this highlight color. You want to be able to see both. When you look at the leaves, you want to be able to see that nice darker color peeking through your highlight color. Now I am going to actually add a little bit of the medium yellow to the leaves. What I'm going to do is a technique just known as dry brush. So it's just as it says, instead of having any water on your paintbrush, you do want to have a dry brush. So you can grab another brush, or you can just dry the one you're using off really well. And then you want just a little dab of the paint on your brush, and you're just going to brush it on. And you'll notice, that it won't glide as smoothly on as your other paint has, and that's just because you are using a really dry brush. But that's what we want, because it just, instead of coating that entire leaf, it will just really apply it in a few spaces as opposed to just the entire leaf. Okay, now that our leaves are done, it is finally time for the most fun part. We are going to make the flowers. So if you would like, you could use any color combination of pinks or reds that you would like. I will be using magenta, primary red, and rose pink. First, I'm going to take my primary red and mix just a little into my magenta. And I'm actually not going to mix it in really well. I want to be able to see the brush strokes of each color. So I'm just going to kind of barely mix it in. So I am using the same flat brush, which is the square brush that I was using earlier. So I want to keep my strokes going in a circle for this. And I'll kind of do little half circles, maybe even just a fourth circles, some going left, some going right. I personally do like to get a good dollop of paint on my brush when I'm doing these flowers, because I just think for myself a thicker acrylic technique I think looks a little bit better on these cute little impressionistic flowers. But if you choose to, you could also do these with a thinner coat of paint, and that would be fine. So now I am taking my rose pink and I'm going to add a little bit, and I mean just a little bit, of the magenta and primary red color that we previously had mixed up to use for that bottom base coat on our flower. The rose pink was just a little bit too light, I think, for my liking. So basically I am just darkening it up just a little bit. And if you don't have this rose pink color, you could absolutely just add just a little bit of white to the magenta and red that we had mixed up, and that will just lighten it up for you as well. Now, as you can see, I'm just doing little swoops, some to the left, some to the right. They're kind of just these little half or fourth circles, I guess is the best way to describe them. I realize it's actually very hard verbally to describe these, cute little impressionistic flowers. So this is definitely where just being able to watch, I think, comes in a lot more handy than actually verbally. So as I am making my little swoops left and right, if it starts to get a little bit too light for me, I'll just go back and get a dab of that earlier color mixture of magenta and primary red, and then I'll go back to the lighter color with the rose pink in it, and I'll kind of go back and forth until I really feel like it looks like, it has these little layers of petals. So basically it's just what looks good to you and what makes you feel like, oh, that feels very, floral to me. On my outer edges, you'll see that I'm putting, it's not totally round. There's a little variation here and there on the sides, and I actually quite like that, especially in this one. I think it turns out well. And it definitely does take, like a while to play with it and work with it. And that's the thing, these little flowers, it's definitely like a practice makes perfect type of scenario. The more you practice, the easier it comes. And you get a lot better with practice. So just play with it. You can play around with it until you get it into the shape that you feel like, looks as floral-ish as you would like. And for our next flower, I am just using the exact same colors and exact same techniques. So I will just let you watch. have got my flowers looking the way I like them, I am going to use a silver metallic art pen to make the little veins on my leaves. You do not have to do this part, or if you would like some veins on your leaves, you could use white or black, any color that's a little bit lighter or darker than the color of your leaves will work and that you like. I just happen to be really into metallic colors right now, so that's why I'm going with the silver metallic. After I get all of the veins put on my leaves, I have actually decided I would like to go back and add some different colors, a little bit more color to my background. So for those of you who are interested in staying tuned to watch me use a palette knife to apply some more colors, I think I'm going to do some light pink and light purple on that background. So if you're interested in watching that, you can stay tuned. And if not, then thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you are interested, you can look at the artwork that I actually have for sale on my website, stephanieswisherart.com. And there will be a link in my YouTube bio here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. See you next time.
Gonna take it slow. Gonna take it slow.